All right, blockchain. It's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days, right?
Yeah.
And I'll admit, it can seem a little intimidating, like where do you even begin?
Yeah, it's one of those things that either makes people's eyes light up or glaze over.
Totally. But today we're diving deep into blockchain technology and its application to try to demystify it. We're going to uncover what all the hype is about and why this tech is so revolutionary.
And the thing is, a lot of people just associate blockchain with cryptocurrency, but it goes so much deeper than that.
Right, it's kind of like when the internet first came out. It was mostly just for emails, but now look at it.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about blockchain. It's still early days, but the potential is huge. I mean, we're talking everything from how we vote to how we track our food, even our medical records.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. What exactly is blockchain?
Imagine a digital ledger, but instead of being kept in one place, like a bank, it's copied across tons of computers.
So kind of like a shared Google Doc where everyone has a copy.
Exactly. And every transaction that happens is recorded on this ledger. And because it's spread across so many computers, it's almost impossible to tamper with.
Okay, so no more sneaky edits or changing the numbers after the fact. Got it. But how does that actually work? I mean, the blockchain technology and its application document mentions all these complex mechanisms like consensus. What is that all about?
It's actually pretty ingenious. Think of it like a digital system of checks and balances. So let's say you want to add a new transaction to the blockchain. It doesn't just get slotted in. It needs to be validated by the entire network.
So everyone on the network needs to agree that it's legitimate.
Exactly. And that's where these consensus mechanisms come in. There are different types with names like proof of work or proof of stake, but they all essentially work like a sophisticated voting system. Everyone on the network needs to agree that the transaction is valid before it gets permanently added to the chain.
That's a pretty solid system. So no one person or entity can control it.
Precisely. It's what makes blockchain so disruptive. It removes the need for those big middlemen, the banks, the governments, the corporations that we typically rely on to verify transactions and hold our data. Instead, trust shifts to the network itself, which is secured by complex math and cryptography.
So instead of blind trust, we have mathematical certainty.
You got it. And this decentralization has huge implications across all sorts of industries.
Okay, let's talk about some real-world examples.
Yeah.
You mentioned supply chains earlier. How can blockchain improve those?
Think about the coffee you had this morning. Wouldn't it be fascinating to trace its journey from the farm where the beans were grown all the way to your cup?
That's way beyond my usual level of coffee contemplation.
Right. But with blockchain, that level of transparency becomes possible. Each step in the process, from harvesting and processing to shipping and distribution, can be recorded on the blockchain, creating a permanent and verifiable record.
So it's not just taking someone's word for it. We have the data to back it up.
Exactly. And this applies to everything, not just coffee. We're talking about the food we eat, the clothes we wear, the medicines we take. Blockchain can empower consumers to make more informed choices and build trust in the products they buy.
So no more shady dealings or fake labels. I like that. But what about something like healthcare? Data security and privacy are so important in that field. How does blockchain fit in?
That's a great question. Think about your medical records. Right now, they're often scattered across different doctors, hospitals, and insurance companies. With blockchain, imagine a secure, encrypted digital vault for all your health data.
And this vault is controlled entirely by me, right?
Exactly. You would have complete control over who has access to your information. And any changes or additions to your records would be tracked and verified on the blockchain.
So complete transparency and accuracy. And this could have huge implications for medical research too, right?
Absolutely. If patients had more control over their data and could choose to share it securely for research purposes, it could accelerate the pace of discovery. And let's not forget about the potential to improve healthcare access in underserved communities or developing countries where reliable record keeping can be a huge challenge.
It's amazing to see how this technology can address such fundamental issues. But, we can't talk about blockchain without addressing the elephant in the room, cryptocurrency.
Of course, it's where it all began, right? And while Bitcoin is still the most well-known, the world of digital currencies has expanded way beyond that. There's a whole ecosystem of altcoins out there, each with its own unique features and purpose.
I've heard of Ethereum. How's that different from Bitcoin? And what's all this buzz about DeFi I keep hearing?
Excellent questions. So Bitcoin was primarily designed as a digital currency. Ethereum, on the other hand, expands the capabilities of blockchain by enabling the creation of smart contracts.
Hold on. Smart contracts. Those sound a little intimidating.
They might sound complex, but the idea is actually quite simple. They're essentially self-executing contracts written in code, which allows for more complex transactions and applications.
So instead of relying on lawyers and paperwork, agreements can be automatically enforced by code.
Exactly. And this has the potential to revolutionize everything from simple agreements like paying rent to complex transactions like buying a house. And that brings us to DeFi, or decentralized finance.
Okay, now things are getting interesting. Break it down for me. What does DeFi actually mean?
Imagine a world where you could access financial services like lending, borrowing, and even insurance without needing a bank. That's the core idea behind DeFi. It leverages the power of blockchain and smart contracts to create a more open and accessible financial system.
So instead of those big financial institutions calling the shots, we're talking about peer-to-peer transactions, all powered by blockchain.
You got it. And this has the potential to disrupt the financial industry in a big way, offering greater transparency, lower fees, and financial inclusion for those who've been traditionally excluded from traditional banking systems.
I'm starting to see why people are so excited about DeFi. It seems like blockchain really could change everything.
It's a powerful technology with a ton of potential, but we've covered a lot of ground already. Maybe we should pause here for now.
Yeah, let's let all this information sink in for a bit.
Yeah.
We'll be back soon to explore even more fascinating applications of blockchain. Welcome back. So much to unpack with blockchain, huh? I'm ready to dive into more of these applications, especially after all that talk about DeFi last time. It really got me thinking about the potential impact, even beyond finance.
Totally. And, one area where I think blockchain can really make a difference is in creating a more sustainable future.
Oh yeah, something I've been hearing more about. Like, how can this technology help us tackle some of those big environmental challenges? Seems like there's a lot of potential there.
Absolutely. Think about it. What if you could buy renewable energy directly from your neighbors, cutting out those big energy companies and putting power back into the hands of individuals?
Hey, seriously, like I could buy solar power from someone down the street using blockchain. How does that even work?
It's all about peer-to-peer energy trading. Blockchain can facilitate those transactions, tracking the flow of energy and automatically handling payments. It's a way to create a more decentralized and resilient energy grid, one that's less reliant on fossil fuels.
Wow, that's amazing. Are there other sustainability applications on the horizon? What else can blockchain do in this space?
Well, think about carbon credits. That's a way for companies to offset their emissions, right? By investing in projects that reduce greenhouse gases. Blockchain can provide a super transparent platform for tracking these credits, making sure they're legit and preventing fraud. It could really incentivize companies to take action on climate change.
So no more shady dealings with carbon offsets. That's a huge step in the right direction. And you know what? This whole idea of transparency could be applied to so many other areas.
Exactly, like voting, for example. It's the foundation of democracy, but there are always those concerns about fraud and manipulation. Blockchain has the potential to make elections much more secure and trustworthy.
Wait, are you saying we could potentially vote on a blockchain? That sounds pretty radical. How would that even work in practice?
Imagine a system where every vote is recorded on a blockchain. It would be virtually impossible to tamper with. Voters could verify that their vote was counted accurately, and the whole process would be completely auditable. It would boost confidence in election outcomes for sure.
That's a game changer. It's incredible to think that this technology could address such fundamental issues. Speaking of fundamental issues, let's talk about real estate. It's a notoriously complex and often frustrating process.
Oh, tell me about it. But that's where blockchain can step in and simplify things. Imagine a future where you could buy a house without mountains of paperwork, endless back and forth with lawyers, and those crazy high realtor fees. Blockchain could streamline the entire process, making it faster, cheaper, and more secure.
So we're talking about digital deeds and property records stored on a blockchain. No more filing cabinets full of paper.
You got it. And with smart contracts, so many of the steps involved could be automated, like property transfers and escrow payments. It would minimize the risk of fraud and ensure a smooth, transparent transaction.
It sounds like a dream come true for both buyers and sellers. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about something that's top of mind for a lot of people these days: data privacy. With all these data breaches happening, it feels like our personal information is constantly at risk.
That's a huge concern, and rightfully so. But that's another area where blockchain can empower individuals. Imagine having a secure digital identity that's stored on a blockchain, one that you control completely. You could choose to share it selectively with businesses or service providers, but you would always be in the driver's seat.
So no more handing over my driver's license or social security number to every website and app. That sounds incredibly liberating.
Exactly. You would have the power to decide what information you share and with whom. It would reduce the risk of identity theft and create a much more trustworthy digital ecosystem.
Okay, we've covered a lot here. Sustainable energy, secure voting, streamlined real estate transactions, self-sovereign digital identity. It's clear that blockchain has the potential to impact nearly every aspect of our lives. But it's not all smooth sailing, right? There must be some challenges too.
Of course, no technology is perfect. One of the big ones is scalability. As blockchain adoption grows, the networks need to be able to handle a massive volume of transactions quickly and efficiently.
Right, it needs to be able to keep up with demand. So how do we solve that?
Well, there are some brilliant minds working on it. People are exploring things like layer 2 networks and sharding, which basically break down the workload and allow for parallel processing. That can dramatically increase transaction speeds.
So it's kind of like dividing a complex task into smaller, more manageable chunks. That makes sense.
Exactly. Then there's the issue of interoperability. Right now, we have this whole bunch of different blockchain networks, and they don't always play well together. For blockchain to truly reach its full potential, these networks need to be able to communicate and interact seamlessly.
It's like having different countries with incompatible electrical systems. Super frustrating. So what can be done about that?
Well, the good news is that a lot of research and development is going into creating what are called bridges and protocols that allow different blockchains to work together. It's a complex challenge, but it's crucial for unlocking the full potential of this technology. And of course, we can't forget about regulation. Governments around the world are still trying to figure out how to regulate this rapidly evolving technology.
Yeah, finding that right balance between fostering innovation and protecting consumers is tricky.
Absolutely. It's a delicate dance, but it's essential for the long-term success of blockchain. And speaking of the long term, what about the future? What trends and developments should we be keeping an eye on? One area that I'm super excited about is the convergence of blockchain with other transformative technologies like AI and the Internet of Things. Just imagine AI-powered smart contracts that can adapt to real-world conditions, or blockchain-secured IoT devices that can share data securely and transparently.
Whoa, that's getting into some serious sci-fi territory.
It might sound futuristic, but the foundation is already there. And that's what makes this whole space so fascinating. Who knows what incredible applications we'll see in the years to come?
Well, you've definitely given us a lot to think about. Blockchain is clearly more than just a buzzword. It's a powerful force that's already reshaping our world in countless ways.
And this is really just the beginning.
We've only just scratched the surface, and I'm already blown away by the possibilities. But we'll save those deeper explorations for another time. Welcome back to our final blockchain deep dive. It's amazing to think about all the areas we've already explored, from disrupting finance to revolutionizing supply chains and empowering individuals with their own data. But I have a feeling we've only just scratched the surface. What other surprises does blockchain have in store for us?
It really does feel like we're just at the beginning of this journey, doesn't it? Like we're opening up this treasure chest of possibilities. One area I find particularly fascinating is the intersection of blockchain and the arts.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting one. I wouldn't have immediately connected those two worlds. How does blockchain even play a role in something as creative and expressive as art?
Well, think about the challenges that artists face, especially in the digital age. It's so easy for their work to be copied or stolen online. It's often really difficult to prove ownership, protect their creations, and receive fair compensation. That's where blockchain can offer some really powerful solutions. It creates a system for digital provenance and ownership.
So artists can use blockchain to essentially timestamp and verify their creations, kind of like a digital signature.
Exactly, and that's where NFTs come in, or non-fungible tokens. They're unique digital assets that represent ownership of a specific piece of digital art, music, or even virtual collectibles.
Ah, NFTs. They've definitely taken the world by storm. I have to admit, I still struggle to fully grasp their value. Like, why would someone spend millions of dollars on a digital image that anyone can copy and paste? It seems a little crazy.
Yeah, it's a question a lot of people have. But what gives NFTs value is their verifiable scarcity and proof of ownership. Think of it like owning the original Mona Lisa versus having a print. The blockchain ensures that there's only one authentic version and that the ownership is indisputable.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's like having a digital certificate of authenticity. So it's a big deal for collectors and art enthusiasts.
Yeah.
But are there other applications of blockchain, maybe less glamorous ones that we haven't touched on yet?
Absolutely. One area that's often overlooked is supply chain management, but for smaller businesses, like artisanal producers or farmers.
Well, that's interesting. We talked about how blockchain can benefit large corporations like Walmart, but how does it translate to a smaller scale?
Well, imagine a small coffee farm in Ethiopia, for example. They want to sell their beans directly to consumers around the world. Blockchain can help them create a transparent and traceable supply chain, showcasing the quality and origin of their beans, even without having a big brand name behind them.
So consumers can be confident they're getting authentic, ethically sourced coffee,
Yeah.
and the farmers have more control over their product and potentially even earn higher profits. It's a win-win.
Exactly. It's about empowering small businesses and producers, giving them access to those global markets, and enabling them to share their stories directly with consumers.
I love that. It's like blockchain can help level the playing field in a way. And speaking of leveling the playing field, another area that comes to mind is philanthropy and charitable giving.
Yes, that's one where blockchain can really shine. One of the big challenges with traditional charitable giving is that it's often difficult to track where your money actually goes, right? And to know for sure that it's reaching those intended recipients. Blockchain can create a transparent and accountable system for both tracking donations and their impact.
So no more wondering if my donation is actually making a difference. I can literally follow the money and see the results firsthand.
Precisely. It gives donors more confidence and control. And it allows those charities to demonstrate their impact and build greater trust with supporters.
Wow. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive. It's mind-boggling to think about all the ways blockchain is already impacting our world, from the arts and philanthropy to supply chains, healthcare, and even voting. It feels like this technology has the potential to touch nearly every aspect of our lives.
And the thing is, we're still so early in this journey. The applications we've talked about are just a glimpse of what's possible. As the technology continues to mature and adoption grows, I think we're going to see even more incredible and transformative uses emerge.
It's both exciting and a little daunting to think about how much blockchain could change our world in the coming years.
It is, and it really highlights how important it is to be having these conversations, thinking about the ethical considerations, the social implications, and the economic impacts of this technology. We need to make sure that it's developed and used responsibly in a way that benefits all of humanity.
Absolutely. This isn't just about the tech itself. It's about how we shape its future, how we use it to create a more equitable and sustainable world. It's a call to action for all of us to learn, explore, and contribute to building that brighter future.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about recognizing that the future isn't predetermined. It's a canvas waiting to be painted, and we all have a role to play in shaping it.
Well, that's a beautifully inspiring note to end on. This deep dive has been an incredible journey, and I hope our listeners are leaving feeling just as energized and excited about the potential of blockchain as I am.
Thanks for joining us on this exploration. Remember, stay curious, keep learning, and let's build that better future together.
And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. Until next time, keep exploring.